guys, it's the Chook Man here once again. Just bear with me for a minute. Just adjusting my music that I love listening to because it puts me in a good space. I love country and western if you haven't gathered. I love rock and roll music and I love just to be chilling out, calm. Try not to think of too much in here because when we overthink it, we do silly things. We've got to take all the negative thoughts out of our head and put them down the toilet, flush them down the toilet and forget they ever happened. So today what we're going to be doing, talking about the third assault on the Chook man's life as a boy growing into manhood. I was living by this time, I was 19 or even a little bit younger. I was living down Fitzroy, not Fitzroy St Kilda, but Fitzroy, around Fitzroy. I used to hang around the main drag of Fitzroy. I used to go, there was back then, I was just turning this down. Back then, they had all these charities back then. They had the nuns that used to give you lunch in the main street of Fitzroy. Used to be called something, I can't remember what it was called now, but the nuns used to run it. You had to be there at a certain time. I'm just trying to think where else we went for meals. Oh yeah, there used to be a food van that used to come at 8 o'clock at night. You used to get a cup of tea and a sandwich. They used to pull up between the tennis courts and the Fitzroy police station, but you had to be there at a certain time or otherwise you'd miss out. I was only young at the time, 19 I think I was, or still in my teenage years. I rocked up there late and it got into a bit of a fisticuff, a bit of an argument, and the people that were running it, they were beautiful people. They were just trying to calm the situation down. I'd rushed in because I was running late and I grabbed the last sandwich, and as I started to eat it, this elderly bloke, he would have been, I don't know, 60 years old, built like a brick shithouse, turned around and just smashed me in the nose. Blood went all over me. Cup of tea went all over me. Everyone started screaming. There was women there. There was other adults there. There was young kids there screaming. So they calmed the situation down. The guy broke my nose, gave me a black eye. Apparently he suffered from schizophrenia. He didn't realise what he was doing. Then I got asked not to come to the food van anymore. I just couldn't understand why they would do that. They banned me for 2 months. They said, "Oh, you caused trouble. We've never had this trouble before." And I was gutted. I was gobsmacked. I was like, but hang on a minute. Did you see what happened? Did you understand what happened? Did you understand the story? Anyway, they said, to cut a long story short, they banned me from the soup van. Soup used to come around, give you a cup of tea and sandwiches, but you had to be there at a certain time. By this time I was living in Fitzroy, across the road from the exhibition buildings where they have all the car shows. There was a place called Osborne House. It was an old boarding house. All the old, and I say this respectively now, all the people that had alcohol problems back then and mental issues and all sorts of issues ended up in these boarding houses. All different stories, all different reasons why they're in there, all different needs, ex-alcoholics, ex-drug users, ex-this, ex-that. I could go on for days. Anyway, so I ended up getting a room in this boarding house. Had to pay $50 back then a week for your small room, which was only small. And I started living in there and keeping to myself, but by then I'm still an alcoholic by then, you know. I'm still drinking heaps. I'm still a knockabout bloke kid that wouldn't know shit from clay. I'm still hanging around rough people. I'm still doing dumb things. I'm still not changing my way. I'm still, you know, how silly can I be? How silly can one human be learning the ropes? And anyway, I've come across an old car that someone gave me, and the story goes that I sold it to these two knockabout blokes who were much older than me, um, ex-jailbirds they were, and I sold them the car for $50 back then. You know, this was late 80s, early 90s going on when this happened. And apparently the story goes they got caught driving this unregistered Valiant, and it was one of those Valiants where you push, drive, reverse, all buttons. And I told these two thugs that, the car's unregistered and they were unlicensed. And they said, oh, we don't give a shit. We just want the car. And I sold it to them for $50. Anyway, the story goes they took the car. They got caught driving the car around Fitzroy and St Kilda and Collingwood. That particular morning they come back, kicked my door in, kicked my door open, grabbed me, reefed me out of bed and went bang, bang, bang. They both got stuck into me. Broke my nose, broke all my teeth, blackened my eyes, bruised my fence, and they wanted their $50 back. And I said, what's all this in aid of? It's because they got caught driving an unregistered car and they got in trouble. So they come back to me, they kicked my door open. Oh, that's right. And when I told them I couldn't give them their $50 back, one of them had a cutthroat. Now, for all you guys out there that don't know what a cutthroat is, it's like a shaving knife. You can pull it out and you shave your face with. It's called a cutthroat back in those days. One of them pulled that out, started waving it around. The other guy grabbed me by the hair, pulled my head back, and started slicing my throat up. But by this time, don't forget they'd already given me a bashing. 2 black eyes, a broken nose, bruised face, more swelling to the brain. By the time all this finished, they pissed off, left me battered and bruised and cut my throat from ear to ear, not deeply where you're pissing out blood, enough to scare me, you know. It all got stitched up, but it wasn't, luckily for me, they didn't actually cut my throat. They just nicked it enough to scare me. And so they nicked off, and there was all blood all over the room, there was shit everywhere. Oh, they cut my goldfish heads off, they got my goldfish out, chopped them up with the cutthroat knife, left the room a mess. Someone rang the police and the ambulance. They come and got me. Luckily for me, where I was staying at Osborne House, the hospital down the road, I'm trying to think what it was called, the Fitzroy Hospital wasn't far, it was only a stone's throw away. So I rang an ambulance, police come, took me to the hospital. I'm trying to think of the name of the hospital, but anyway, you know where it is. It's down Fitzroy. They stitched me up again, my neck, fixed all my face up and sent me on my way. So it's, plus I was drunk when this was happening, you know. I was only young and these thugs come into my life and thought they could stand over me and do this and do that. Wrong place, wrong time, living at the wrong place. So I left that place after I got all stitched up. Oh, that's right, they actually kicked me out of Osborne House again, and I thought, wow, what did I do wrong this time? 'Cause the room got smashed up and damaged, they blamed me. So I left, and then I went from there, living back on the streets down St Kilda, bumming it around, still on the alcohol, still haven't learnt my lessons in life, still hanging around people I shouldn't be with, still shoulda, coulda, woulda story. So that's that third bad assault that I copped. as I was growing up, from a boy into a man. So that's our third story, and there's many more stories on when I got assaulted down St Kilda. All right, guys. I hope you're really understanding where I've come from, and never give up on life, and always better yourself. If you're hanging around the wrong crowd, don't hang around them. Go do something else. We all know right from wrong. We don't get a manual book in life when we're born, but we work out in life what's right and wrong. We all know right from wrong, even though we like to say, oh, I didn't know that was wrong, or this or that. It's not rocket science, man. You do the wrong thing. The old saying is, you do the crime, you do the time. Alright, so that's that story. And there'll be many more stories to come. And take care. Be kind to people around you. And just do the right thing in life. Especially you young people that are coming up the ladder now. Have a listen to my stories and try not to walk in my footsteps, yeah? If you're doing something bad to your body, as my partner that supports me now says, if you treat your body like a tip, it's going to end up like a tip. If you treat your body like a temple, you can't go wrong. Alright, guys.